we're back with another episode of the Hats Off Podcast. I'm Noah.
I'm Liam.
And today we are going to be discussing Manchester by the Sea.
Yes, sir.
Manchester.
A wild thrill ride of emotions.
Yeah.
Spoiler alerts, because it's 4 years old, but you should have seen it by now, so not too.
I mean, I think all of our everything we do is going to have spoiler alerts.
Yeah, but we already talked about Alien and should have seen that like 40 years ago. So it's what it is.
So
Why'd you pick it?
Well, one of the reasons that I picked it is because I hadn't seen it yet. It came out in 2016, like you said. I watched it for the first time probably about a couple months ago during quarantine. You know, everyone's out there low, really depressed. So what better movie to watch than Manchester by the Sea? But I just heard really great things about Casey Affleck's performance. You know, everyone knows him as Ben's little brother. Ben's the Hollywood superstar. He's in all the action movies.
Gone Baby Gone.
He's won the Oscars. No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh. If you liked him in this one, go see Gone Baby Gone. Highly suggested. Next. Sorry.
And then another reason I picked it is because, you know, I think it deals with a lot of dark and heavy themes that, you know, I think a lot of people can relate to. You know, including like grief, depression, and I think we're living in like difficult times right now, so I think it's just important to, you know, acknowledge those things and that they're out there for everyone. Everyone's going through their own shit that you may not be able to see on the surface level. So
yeah, and one of the bigger themes is like blame and how to like forgive yourself, forgive others. You know, like he's got Randy, who eventually kind of forgives him. She doesn't outright say it, but you know, it's a theme throughout the movie where he's kind of beating himself up for it and doesn't think he can trust himself with another being to be taken care of. So, this one caught me off guard. I knew going in that it was. I mean, you said it last time on the podcast. We're gonna do a depressing one.
Yeah.
And
I didn't realize how depressing it would be until I watched it.
I didn't understand, like, first half hour of the movie. I didn't really understand why he could be so depressed. And like, okay, yeah, you live in a one-room apartment and you clean up shit from old ladies and stuff. Like, I get it. That could be a shitty outlook. I mean, living in the Northeast too with that, like he's shoveling snow all day long. Not really the greatest environment for someone that's kind of like that already.
One of my notes was it's set in the winter in the Northeast. You know, the winter is associated a lot with like the cold, dark, depressing. So
yeah.
You know.
So, but it took me out of it in the beginning because I was like, how can this guy really be this fucked up? Like, I get that they're gonna explain it later, but it was like I couldn't see him like that. It was like,
did you catch like all the hints that they dropped though throughout the film? You know, when he goes back in town, a lot of the locals are like,
you know what?
That's Lee Chandler. that's Lee, and they're like, oh, that's Lee Chandler, or that's the Lee Chandler.
The first time that they had that,
as if like it's a story, but to him.
Yeah, but the first time that they had that, it was in the hockey arena when they were practicing.
Yeah,
and I thought that they were like he was some hockey legend, like Happy Gilmore, where he was the only guy to take his skate off to try and stab somebody.
Yeah. I could see him doing that.
So I was thinking that might have been it. Like, oh, he's a legend for being like a, you know. Yeah. And then
he just doesn't give a fuck at all.
Yeah. Come to find out. Oof.
Well, that's what another thing that I noted too is that like, you know, the movie itself there's no really big plot twist in it. You know, it kind of just goes on. But I thought like the plot twist or like the climax of the movie is, you know, through the flashback scenes when they eventually show like what happens between him and his wife and why he's so depressed.
Yeah.
You know, that's like the turning point in the film.
I think one of the most interesting things about that is that there's not really a structure to it. Like, there doesn't seem to be first, second, third act like a normal movie would. Yeah. It just kind of like, all right, here he is. Here's this depressed guy. All right, now this happens. It's not really going to lead to anything. There's no real like catharsis at the end of any of the acts. Like, he still continues to be pissed off and upset that he has to take care of his nephew for a good majority of the movie. Yeah. The way that they like cleverly intercut it with throwbacks from, you know, when he was with his kids and when he was happy with Randy with his friends and you know, he smiled in every flashback that he had. other than the one that was flashback to like the police station or whatever. But
yeah, and I actually did. I hadn't seen the movie yet, and that's like, I think I saw something about like Casey. It might have been like the Oscars that year. Honestly, it was like, you know how like if they like when they announce the nominees for like best actor, best actress, whatever, and they'll show a specific scene from the movie.
Yeah.
Just like to highlight their performance.
Which one? I think
it was the police scene when he tries to shoot himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just such a really,
sounds right.
Yeah, it's just
that does sound right.
A really dark scene.
Yeah, that's a really good scene to like break down in terms of emotion. He's kind of when they're asking him his questions, he's got this like.
I guess we should talk about what happened first.
Yeah.
So, through flashback scenes, we learn that Lee Chandler, who was played by Casey Affleck, the main character, he was having his friends over and they were drinking, they were smoking weed and doing coke and whatnot. And he lived with his wife and their 3 kids. And his wife kicks all his friends out, and he's, off coke. He's like wired. He goes to get more beer from the store. Tries to heat the house up by putting fire logs in the fireplace, and he starts a fire. Doesn't put the gate or the fence, whatever, in front of the fireplace.
Yep.
And while he's out, some of the logs that are on fire, obviously, they roll out, and his house catches on fire. And the fire department are only able to save his wife because her bedroom is downstairs, and then him and his wife lose all 3 of their kids in the fire. So, and the scene just like kind of catches you off guard, and you just and you can even see in his reaction, like when he comes back and he's just standing in the crowd of all like the people just like in shock and awe, just like they can't believe what they're seeing.
Yeah. I thought it was really, really good how they show the fire, how engulfing it is, and you're like, there's no way that there's nobody in that freaking house. I mean, that thing is completely destroyed. And then, the way that they introduce it is Randy, the wife, is screaming that their kids are in there.
Yeah.
And then you feel the wrath of that emotion come through. Like, I felt it in my feet come up to my brain from that. Like, I had pins and needles throughout my entire body watching that scene. And then when it gets to him, all he wants to do is protect his freaking groceries because that's the only thing that he could have gotten out of that night that was like any type of like accomplishment. You know what I mean? Like the police were talking to him and he dropped the bag and then he was like so focused on it. Like,
well, it just sucks too that like he made the responsible decision not to drive. He made the right choice and decided to walk in the winter in the freezing cold miles to the store.
Yeah.
And and it comes back and it's just 10 times worse.
It's just one of those things that you really struggle to try and bounce back from, like in a 20 years.
I mean, I don't know how you do. How do you bounce back from that?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a really accurate portrayal of him trying to kill himself in the.
So flash forward, then it's like the morning after, and they show another flashback of him explaining the story to the cops at the police station, and then they let him go. And as he leaves the interview room, he grabs a cop's gun and tries to shoot himself.
Yeah.
Which is a really powerful scene, but the safety's on, so he doesn't succeed, and they all rush him and they try to they take the gun away from him, but
yeah, I think it's a really accurate representation of how someone in that situation would react. I mean, he was so surprised that they were just going to let him go. I think he thought that he was going to get arrested.
Yeah.
I think he almost wanted to get arrested because he wanted to be punished for what he did. And so that theme kind of goes up throughout the rest of the rest of the years. I mean, when the kids die, the nephew, Pat, looks to be about 10 to 12 years old or so because he comes out to say goodbye to him. And so we're looking at like a 6 to 8 year span, 6 year span from there ish,
probably
of him just beating himself up, and he doesn't really move on from it. Randy moves on.
I mean, she does, but also not really, because in the end, she's like, she has the pain in her heart every day. And she'll never get over it.
Yeah, but I think her acceptance of having another child is her moving on. Like, I felt that once she said I'm pregnant, like he was like, I'm not done with this. Like, I would never, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's why it's kind of like a double meaning in a way, right? Like where she accepts the fact that she can take care of another child, and he struggles with the fact that he couldn't even take care of his own nephew that's already a grown up, basically.
Yeah.
So it's like it's immaturity and acceptance of.
Well, also, I just don't think
changes
I don't think he wants that responsibility put upon him to take care of his nephew.
Right.
Because he failed so miserably with his own kids.
Right. Exactly. He doesn't think that he deserves it
in the worst way possible.
Yeah. I think, and so that also comes back to the scene where the lawyer tells him that he's in charge.
Yeah.
And he has all the flashbacks. But I think it comes back to him being like, deep down I know he wants to do it, but I don't think he thinks that. I think he should be. He thinks that he should be.
Yeah.
Set aside and not have to do that because he already failed once miserably.
Yeah.
So he wants to punish himself by not protecting him and not taking care of him because he knows he could have the possibility of fucking it up that bad.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of how the whole movie goes.
I mean, it's a tale of redemption too.
Yeah.
He's getting a second chance.
Yeah.
And I'm reading on the IMDb, like, did you know? And it says that someone points out that how Joe remains with Lee even after Joe passes away, and like Joe's last act is an attempt to have Lee re-engage himself with the world by giving him the responsibility of taking care of his nephew.
Yeah.
Because he knows that, he probably knows that Lee is just gonna beat himself day in, day out until he's dead.
Yeah.
For the rest of his life, just because it's like, I feel like it's just an unimaginable pain that you can't escape.
Right. So that's his brother's role of getting him redemption.
Yeah.
In a way to give him some responsibility other than living in that room. I really like obviously Matt Damon produced this movie, and according to IMDb, he was actually supposed to direct it.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenneth Lonergan was actually just going to write because he's basically a writer.
He's more like an Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah, he wrote Gangs in New York and a couple other things. Not a lot of directing.
Analyze this, analyze that.
Yeah, not a lot of directing. So I know Matt Damon was supposed to direct, and you can see a lot of his Good Will Hunting-esque type of like nuances in this. Did
he direct Good Will Hunting though?
He wrote it.
He didn't write this though.
I know, but he produced it. So he has a big hand in it.
Yeah.
You can see his. I mean, obviously, writer versus director. Usually, you can see it more on screen. Producers more of like getting everything ready in the background, but like still.
What level? What do you know? Like, was he like? Because like some producing credits are just like people that give money.
No, he is like the main.
He's the
producer.
primary producer.
He got the Oscar for it for Best Picture.
It didn't win Best Picture though. It lost to Moonlight.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
What else did it win then?
It won best. I think Kenneth Lonergan won Best Screenplay.
Yeah, you're right.
And then Casey Affleck won Best.
All right, so yeah, it got nominated for Best Picture, and the first credit for the producer is Matt Damon.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that that's pretty high up. I mean, usually like if you have one that's like a big like you got like 40 people in there, like Brad Pitt is usually a producer for a movie, but he never gets credit for it. Like that kind of situation, I can see that. But this situation, I would say he had a lot of say in this, and like the scenes where they first tell him that his brother died.
Yeah.
You could see a lot of like Good Will Hunting in there, where he's like he doesn't want to show emotion. He's kind of like really reserved and wants to be the tough guy. They tell him, they say he passed away about an hour ago. He says, "Oh."
Yeah.
Like.
Well, it's like I think it too. Like he doesn't when he first gets to the hospital, he doesn't say, "Is my brother okay?" He says, "Is he dead?" Like almost as like he realizes that he probably is dead.
Yeah.
So, and then I read too that during the morgue scene, Casey Affleck, he wasn't expected to cry. Mm-hmm. It was written so he wouldn't cry, but
yeah.
I think he cried because he felt like it was right for the moment, which surprised everyone on set.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool.
So they decided to keep that, which I mean, it just shows like how I mean, it shows how powerful of a movie and how good of an actor Casey Affleck is to get so into character.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of acting and in terms of writing for a role, he is perfect for this. Like,
yeah,
he's I don't think anybody else could have done this. Like, he's just kind of like so.
Yeah.
As an actor and as like a personality already, he's already kind of like low key and like people don't really know a lot about him. And,
yeah.
Ben Affleck kind of is like the.
I mean, he's just always
a shadow on him and stuff like that. So, it was kind of perfect. Like he's already kind of in his shell, and the way that he reacts to a lot of things is just like it's perfect. I could if you told me that that's how Casey Affleck like acted in real life and that's how he was, I'd fucking believe that.
So. I mean, I've never seen a movie with Casey Affleck where I didn't like his role. You know,
that's fair. You got to see Gone Baby Gone then.
I feel like I think I have seen it. It's just I don't remember it. Yeah, it's been a while.
One with the missing girl.
But I mean, even his short stint in Good Will Hunting, I thought he was good in. You know, that was, you know, a really long time ago. But you know, I feel like if you're just taking like raw acting talent, and I mean, I don't know if this isn't necessarily a fair thing to say to Ben, but I think just like I think this is definitely his best performance, Casey Affleck, and it's definitely better than any of the performances his brother has given.
Hot take.
In my opinion. You know, I know he's never won an Oscar for acting.
I mean,
but
I'm a big fan of Gone Girl, him and Gone Girl.
I guess I have
him and Fargo.
Yeah, I have to rewatch that too.
But in terms of raw emotion, 100%. This destroys.
Wait, Ben Affleck's not in Fargo.
Argo.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I guess, like I said, it's a little
raw
biased.
Emotion, 100%. 100%. I mean, even him in Good Will Hunting is still a good role, but you know, he wrote that too. So
yeah.
And then one thing I'm a huge fan of this movie too is like the tracking shots, like how they shot it. In a movie that you have to like pull a lot of emotion out of people, it's really, really well done when you can limit yourself to cutting between like people's faces and stuff. So. One of the scenes that I was talking about, like that really caught me off guard. Well, not caught me off guard, but really kind of like it insinuated that like filmmaking style was like they come back into the house after like a baseball or something.
Yeah.
And the mom is like drunk as shit, naked on the couch.
Yeah.
They just focus on just her like naked body and then everything else like in front of it.
Yeah.
They don't move it at the camera at all.
Yeah.
They just show the whole scene. They just show the emotion, you know, the kid kind of being like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
The dad being disappointed.
It was like, not again.
Yeah. Another scene like that is kind of like the one that they are sitting in, like, they're going to have, like, breakfast. And the girlfriend, the first girlfriend's over. They just put the camera on the table. He's talking to the funeral people.
Yeah, and she comes in and out of the shot, and she comes in the shot, but it like doesn't pan. It doesn't focus on her.
Yeah,
it doesn't focus. It focuses on him, I guess, but he doesn't really move in the scene.
Yeah, it doesn't move. It shows the raw emotion of everybody. I mean, it's just the best way to show like a progression of emotion in a scene. You know, like if we're talking right now, if I had a camera on your face and then it went back to me, if I was talking and then back to you, you wouldn't be able to see like a gradual change of emotion. And I think that's one of the best things that they do in this movie is to show that because, it kind of insinuates his acting ability too.
Yeah,
it shows like how he's gradually getting to that point rather than just being like, oh, let me turn on my sad face real quick.
I think this too relates to what we were talking about with Whiplash, how with Melissa Benoist's character, during the breakup scene, where you don't see Miles Teller's or Andrew's face at all.
Yeah,
you just see her face and her like the change of her facial expressions as Andrew's breaking up with her. But I'm glad you brought that up because one of the things I noticed is that during the flashback scene with the fire, you know, you don't really hear any of the dialogue in it.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of just because you have the music playing over it, and you really have to focus heavy on the like the facial expressions of the actors.
Yeah.
Throughout that scene, and then I guess too, like, this is a movie that I think you really have to. It's not like a really like a. Obviously, it's not an action movie or anything like that. So you really have to focus on the actors, not just what they say, but what they do and how they look.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's a good thing that they don't like try to do too much with like the shots and try to change it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So like it gives audiences the chance to actually like really look at how the actors are.
Yeah, I agree.
Portraying it.
I agree. Yeah, so that's a pretty cool thing because if you're going to show a scene that's so horrific, it's showing what the average person would look like in that situation. They're not telling you how to feel. They're showing you how they're feeling, and that's probably one of the best things, you know?
Yeah.
They're showing you exactly how anybody would feel in that situation. So,
yeah.
One thing that's really interesting is that the first girlfriend is our age. She's like...
In real life?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like,
well, how old is Lucas Hodge?
He's 2 years older than us.
Yeah, so like he's playing like a 16-year-old in the
film. He's playing a 16. I think he's 18 at the time. Or no, he's 20 at the time. So we were 18 at the time.
Nah, he would have been, because it came out in 2016.
Yeah.
So he would have been 18. You're right.
No, he would have been 20, right? Is he 96?
Oh yeah, you're
right. But that's cool because, like, you know, you don't really get to see that nowadays, where you have you're the same exact age as someone. So, like, say you're gonna watch this movie 40 years from now, you're gonna be like, hey, that's how old I was.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty cool. Something to look back on. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna watch this movie pretty frequently going forward because I don't really want to be fucking depressed. But that scene paralyzed me. Fucking paralyzed me. I mean, I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
Just the way they did it. It's just slow burn, no pun intended. But it was just a slow burn of emotion, and I love it.
I mean, yeah, like, you don't really like and they do a good job of, like, you know, obviously they can market it to film in a way where they don't have to reveal that.
Yeah.
But it really just catches you so off guard. Because, like, even, like, the synopsis is a depressed uncle who is asked to take care of his teenage nephew after his boy's father dies. Sounds like a depressing movie, right?
Yeah.
And then it just takes it to a whole nother level when you actually find out why he's actually depressed.
Yeah. One thing I'm finding that's really been interesting in trends is writer and directors in terms of movies. Mm-hmm. It kind of keeps everything very consistent. Like everything in a Tarantino movie has always got its quirks. There's always a shot of feet. There's always swearing. There's always going to be quick cuts like that. You know, you got an Edgar Wright.
Like the signature shots.
The signature shots. Those signature cuts. Mm-hmm. You know, just like the
Tarantino trunk shot.
Yeah, I think this guy Kenneth Lonergan. Mm-hmm. You know, he's a good writer. He's a solid writer, but I think he's going to be a good director if he can continue to go down this point.
I don't think he will, honestly. Because, like I was telling you earlier...
I hope. I mean, geez. What are his upcoming projects?
He doesn't have any listed for directing.
Damn, that sucks.
And he's only directed 3 movies in his life. And like I said, this first one was in 2000. And then he did one in 2011, which was Margaret with... let's see. It was with...
Hannah Paquin.
Yes, from True Blood. And they did this one. So I think it probably is like, it was one of those stories that he just had to direct himself because it's such a powerful story. But if I was a betting man, I would say he isn't going to like be directing a lot of movies or any movies at all in the immediate future.
I wonder what it would have looked like if it was Matt Damon completely directing it himself. That would have been downtown Boston. That wouldn't have been fucking in Manchester.
Well, the Boston accent was like really thick and like especially the scene where like the flashback when they're talking about the sharks.
Yeah,
that's not a fucking shark. That's not a fucking shark. What are you talking about? It's not a shark.
I wonder if the kid was trying to put on like a facade for that because his uncle is like that. I wonder if the kid had that accent. Well, I guess his dad had the accent when he was growing up, so maybe that's why. Yeah. Because Manchester by the Sea, which is what they call it now, it's actually what it is.
Yeah,
like,
no.
It's not just Manchester.
Yeah.
Is like, I don't know, it's probably like
it's
a good hour north, maybe.
That's what it says, and that's what it's in the movie, an hour and a half.
Yeah, because it's near Endicott College, which is right over there.
Yeah. But I mean, there are variations of like the Massachusetts, New England, Boston accent.
Yeah, this is fucking park your car down by the harbor.
It's Harvard Yard. But Matt Damon has never directed a movie. So,
I know. I know. So I'm trying to figure out what it would look like because he was supposed to do it. He liked the screenplay.
I'm glad he didn't, though.
Yeah, I know. It would have been interesting.
It would have been interesting. I'm glad he didn't, though.
It would have been The Martian, but Manchester.
Yeah. What do you think of... I really liked... Have you seen any of Kyle Chandler's work?
He was in Argo, right? I don't really know.
He was in Argo.
I don't know much else. I mean,
he's
very recognizable.
He was in Friday Night Lights, he was really good in, and it kind of reminded me of...
He was the FBI agent in
in Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah,
that's probably how I know him.
But his performance in this reminded me of his performance in Friday Night Lights because he's like just like the concerned father.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't take any bullshit, but he's like really stern, but also like understanding and whatnot.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've always heard that it's a good show.
He was in Godzilla too. He was in the last Godzilla. He was in Bloodline, which is on Netflix. I mean, he's a really good actor. He's like not like obviously he's not like
he's not like an A-lister. Like he's not really in a lot of things. Like he's kind of low key. Like,
but he's good though. He's a really good actor.
He's solid. Yeah, he's 100% solid. 100%. So,
yeah.
One of the best things to actually. Well, I guess I didn't really recognize Michelle Williams. I'm not usually a huge proponent of her. I mean, I actually know her from Venom, which is probably embarrassing.
I like Venom.
Fuck off.
I thought Venom was a decent film and didn't deserve the hate that it got.
God damn it, no.
Well, I honestly always get her.
Anyway, I'm not a fan of her because of that movie. I mean, nothing will ever shake my love for Tom Hardy, but she was good in this. She was really good in this.
I always get her and Carey Mulligan confused.
Yeah.
So
Who's here? Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So I honestly thought like I watched a couple movies with both of them in recently, and I always thought it was the same person.
Yeah.
But
I don't know why, but when he first said that his ex-wife was Randy, I just thought she was like a prostitute or something. I don't know why. I just think that name is like.
No offense to any Randys out there.
Yeah, no offense to any fucking Randys out there.
Well,
actually, one thing too was really interesting is I didn't really follow the whole moving back and forth the first time when they first show his kids.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, he's going home to his fucking kids. What's going on here? You know, or he's daydreaming. You know.
Well, I guess you could just tell his like the difference in his like tone and his mood
and his hair.
Yeah,
that's how they kind of deciphered the difference.
Yeah.
Classic Matt Damon produced bar fights.
Oh yeah, that
Hey, I know you guys.
Nope.
Why the fuck you stand at me for? That was a really good tracking shot too, with him walking over to them.
Yeah,
big fan of that.
Yeah.
Walking over to the suits.
Mm-hmm.
Also, hats off to the kid, Lucas Hodges. He got nommed. Hedges. Yes. He got nommed for supporting actor.
Best supporting actor.
And
so I have kind of an issue with this. Did you see Moonlight?
Yeah, I like Moonlight.
So Mahershala Ali won for Moonlight, best supporting actor. But he was in it for like not even 20 minutes. He was in it for like 22 minutes. I think it was said it's like the shortest runtime for best supporting actor winner.
He was pretty good in that.
He was really good, but I just don't think he was in it enough. Like I would have rather seen Lucas Hedges win.
Yeah, me too. Who else was in it that year?
Jeff Bridges for Hell or High Water, which was alright. Dev Patel and Lion. Didn't see that.
Oh, Hell or High Water, yeah. He was the cop, right? Like that was down the guy.
Like the
Chris Pine and
the Tommy Lee Jones of No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
And then Michael Shannon in Nocturnal Animals, which I didn't see.
I didn't see that either. Who else was best actor?
So best actor, which Casey Affleck won. Hats off to him. Phenomenal in that. Andrew Garfield in Hacksaw Ridge. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Gosling, La La Land. Denzel Washington in Fences, and Viggo Mortensen in Captain Fantastic. I don't have an issue with that. I haven't seen La La Land. The only one I've seen of that is Fences, and I didn't really like Fences, so I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah, and I don't think Ryan Gosling would have got it for La La Land.
Yeah,
maybe Emma Stone for that.
Emma Stone won.
She won for that one, of course.
But then, like you said, Michelle Williams was nominated for Best Supporting Actress.
Really?
For Randy, which she wasn't in it that much, but I mean, she gave a good performance.
Yeah,
I guess because of how powerful her scenes were.
She was good, but like Mahershala, she really wasn't in it as much. Like,
yeah,
I mean, 2 hour and 17-minute movie, she might have been in
not even like
4 scenes.
Yeah, 4 or 5 scenes. And then
the poster for the movie has her in it.
Yeah,
which is kind of off-putting.
The poster of the movie is probably her the scene that got her the nomination.
Yeah.
Is when she's like trying to say she forgives him. And then Kenneth Lonergan.
But she didn't forgive him. She just apologized for what she said.
Yeah.
So even after that, he didn't get any closure. She just said I was wrong for what I said, but he never.
Well, she also
said I fully forgive you or whatever.
She said she's like. She said she doesn't want to see him like hurt anymore.
Okay.
And she like, I think it's kind of more like her like you said how she moved on with her kids, like her giving him permission to move on. Yeah. But he just can't. And then, then Kenneth Lonergan won for best original screenplay.
Hell yeah.
And then for best picture, everyone is familiar with the Moonlight La La Land incident.
Why don't you refresh your memory if you know?
Huh?
Refresh our memory. I don't know.
I'm not sure who was announcing it, but whoever was announcing the award for Best Picture read the card wrong and announced that La La Land had won, when in reality Moonlight had won. And it took
La La Land versus Moonlight. I don't even think that they're even close to the same.
So Moonlight won Best Picture. Manchester by the Sea was nominated for it, as well as Lion, La La Land, like I said, Hidden Figures, Hell or High Water, Hacksaw Ridge, Fences, and Arrival. So, a lot of nominees.
I gotta see Nocturnal Animals.
Yeah.
It's on my list.
I haven't seen it either. So, it seemed like it was the same couple movies that were pretty dominant in the Oscars during this year. Mm. So, yeah. But, could have won Best Picture. Moonlight was alright in my opinion.
Yeah. Probably should have got Best Picture. Honestly, this was pretty beautiful.
Yeah, but then again, if we were doing an episode on Moonlight, we might be making the same argument. Yeah, it's just based off what's fresh in our memory.
That's true. $9 million budget.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty
low. Is it $9 million?
9.
That's pretty low.
Yeah, that's pretty low. I mean, it's a movie that you really, if you think about it, you don't really need much for it. You're just paying a big name like Casey Affleck. That's about it.
What was
They don't really need anything else. They're shooting on location.
It was the first film distributed or co-distributed by a streaming service.
Amazon.
To get an Oscar nom for Best Picture.
That's historic.
So
4 years later, we're only seeing that shit.
Yeah. So it was ahead of its time in that department.
Only grossed $78 million worldwide.
Yeah, this is the movie that I would have expected to make a lot of money.
Wouldn't have?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it wasn't really like...
I don't think it was promoted as much. Yeah. Plus, if it's getting distributed by Amazon, then they take a good amount of the all that stuff, all the logistics for it. So, But yeah.
So Manchester by the Sea, definitely recommend it. It's a heavy watch, but it's definitely worth it. Casey Affleck, great performance. Yeah.
100%.
Hope you liked it.
Absolutely.
So next week
whenever
week we do.
Yeah, next week we're gonna do a little bit more lighthearted one. Something that's been recent.
Okay.
But also came out in 2016.
Oh, okay.
Rogue One.
Oh boy.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
We're getting into the franchises now.
No. We're just getting.
Is it because it came out around this time?
We're trying to do some recent. Plus, also, I don't consider this completely canon. It's obviously canon. I just don't consider it a part of the rest of the trilogy. I like to keep this one as aesthetically pleasing as well as filmmaker obsessive. So, all right, next week.
Said I got to get you.